question, now we are coming to the roadmap for the rest of the interview season. What should I do between October through end of Feb? And the rank order list deadline is, by the way, March 3rd, for those of you who don't know. We always recommend, stay clinically active. So if you are in your home country, obviously working, there is no substitute. So work, and especially if you could in the COVID related domain, that will be excellent hands-on experience, which will translate very well in this interview season. If you are in the US, you could do rotations, and you can look up our website for some of those clinical rotations. Tele-rotations, as you all know, have been growing, and tele-rotations are an option even if you are outside US or in US as well. Now, research is also something you could consider. Again, many of these hospitals or top programs may not be hiring volunteers. Typically they would do volunteers or research associates, but because of COVID they may not be hiring. So one option is to do independent research. We have that option also. In fact, about 150 students do research projects with our team. So you can look up our website on research. We are starting the new batch, new cohort in about 2 weeks, around November 15th. If you are interested, look it up. So the idea is to stay clinically active, either in rotations or work in your home country or do research. Then of course, prepare for the interviews. Now what we have seen is students got interviews on say 22nd October, and they had the interview scheduled for 27 because there were no other date. All virtual interviews, very limited time. The time is of essence. You may get a week, you may get, if you're lucky, maybe 2 months to schedule all that, or a month. So you may have time, you may not have time. So our recommendation is, whatever else you are doing, make sure to start preparing if you have not started on the interview prep. That is goes without saying. This will help you. In fact, we've been helping our students. We've been doing interview preparation for close to 2 months now. So our students should be in good shape. For those of you who've not started, please do that now. The idea here again is not to sit at home and wait for an invite. You could even do volunteering in your neighborhood food bank, local shelter. Even doing volunteering is better than sitting at home. Okay, so it'll provide you something to discuss. Obviously, clinical experience, rotations, everything helps, but make sure you do the interview preparation at this time without waiting for the invite. And other things like research can also be considered. Other important question around logistics and how do I set up the interviews, how do I kind of set up for the virtual environment. So first question, should I be in the US for the interview cycle? Now some programs even in this season are asking you to come face to face at their premise at the hospital. So obviously if you are invited by such programs, you have no option. In general, on the paper, it makes no difference whether you are outside US or in US, but you never know, so we are recommending, if you can be in the US, you should be here. Same time zone and all those issues are always to be considered. We are recommending that you stay in the US. Okay. Then another question, what kind of setup must I have for the virtual interviews? Very, very important questions. In fact, like I said, we have been preparing for interviews for the past 2 months, and we have been, we always do virtual preparation anyway. So I'll tell you some of the basic things you need to be ready with, and then some of the mistakes that we have seen. So basic things you should all be aware. High-speed internet, of course, goes without saying. But the trick here is to make sure that you are on a wired connection, Ethernet connection, high speed. Wireless, even in the US, can be unstable. So high speed Ethernet connection is highly recommended. A good camera, of course, whether it's your laptop camera, Mac, or other add-on cameras, camera has to be very good. More importantly, the mistakes we have seen are the audio. The audio has to be top notch. Get an external mic if possible, but the audio makes a lot of difference. Along with the internet speed. So sometimes you are cut off, sometimes your picture is frozen, audio is frozen. So all those are basic things. They make a lot of difference. The other mistake we have seen is people trying to take these interviews on their phones and all that. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Even iPad, we are recommending go with either a Mac, a laptop, something like this. iPad can tend to be unstable and all that. The cameras should be at your eye level, so always look at the camera, and if you need support beneath the laptop in terms of propping it up, you can. The room where you are should be well lit. The glare should not be on your face. The light should be coming from behind the laptop. So some of these mistakes that we've seen, we discuss all of these in our classes. You may not realize how fatal these can be. So for example, if you have a fan running on the ceiling, or maybe even a table fan, you may not realize it, but the sound of the fan creates such a bad echo to the listener that a lot of things are just not audible. So take care of these things, no noise in the background, kids, dogs, get a quiet room. The background should be neutral. You can go in for a virtual background, but neutral will be okay as well.